Hi, my name is Jeremy Irwin. I work in the transport sector, specialising in commercial aviation in our aviation team and also in a strategy and economics practice. I work day to day with airlines, airports, investors and banks to help create strategic plans and also to help drive large-scale investment decisions and create pathways to growth for our clients. I'm here with Murray, who also works in our strategy and economics practice with me.
A lot of my work is centred in working with energy companies, utility companies, investors, banks, technology developers, thinking about ways that they can drive growth, but also thinking about improving profitability of their businesses as well. And how does my work kind of show up in the day-to-day? Think about a brand new piece of infrastructure across either energy, utilities or transport. Think about how we support companies in buying and selling some of their assets, but also buying new companies as well to be able to create growth. But then also everything about what we do is creating better services and better products and offerings for the people as well. So thinking about developing new products and services is another thing I like to do as well.
And that's really similar to some of the work that we do in our aviation team. It's always for the end consumer. When you're flying on an aeroplane, how we help our airline or airport clients and their investors think about how they should operate in a world that is increasingly competitive and consolidated, and how do they differentiate themselves. So when we're working at PA, how do you think that we are different from some of our other consulting competitors or other consultants in the market?
So one of the awesome thing about PA is we are 4,000 consultants globally, but what we do across all of our different geographies, but particularly in the UK, is have access to a number of different specialists across a variety of different teams. Now me, in the energy team, every single day I am working with economists like myself, designers, engineers, scientists, technology, data, AI people to be able to solve our clients' problems. And what that means is when we work and speak with our clients, we're not just advising them on what are the returns that they're going to get from an investment, what is the way that this market is growing in order for them to be able to get the returns that they want. We're also advising them on what's the type of technology that they're looking at. What are the opportunities? What are the risks? What are the difficulties that technology might have in the future? So that we're able to give them advice that operates across the whole nature of the thing that they're investing in, so that they have real confidence and clarity in what they're going to be investing in.
I think from an aviation perspective, our team is really differentiated by three things. The first is we bring really deep industry expertise, and we combine that with some of the other capabilities of PA, like when you and I work together, using your experience in investment and finance and transaction. I think secondly, we're able to create really nice, awesome teams that complement each other, because there's always someone with deep industry expertise, but they're complemented by someone who is a digital specialist, or they have spent a lot of time working in AI, or they're an engineer. And bringing that skill set together at different levels of teams actually brings different levels of thought to the forefront. And I think that leads into a third thing, which enables us to go that step further, which is rather than just creating a generic North Star strategy, our teams actually go that next step, leveraging that deep expertise and bringing in perspective from different industries to create a multi-dimensional perspective that allows a little bit deeper level of detail, but actually works really well because it allows that business to have an implementable strategy. So last year we spent most of 2025 actually working on a series of projects across Australia that started with a distressed airline asset. And actually, it was a critical piece of infrastructure in Australia. It remains a critical piece of infrastructure in Australia, but how you actually reshape that business to enable it to be sustainably profitable long term and can keep Australian communities connected. On top of that, we also did a lot of work looking at airport infrastructure in Australia, guiding our clients around the level of capital expenditure that was appropriate, the social impact that had off the back, and the level of investment that drove certain returns on social impact and social investment and equity through communities. And then I think finally those things together, we provided a strategic plan that provided a long-term path to sustainable growth for the distressed asset that I mentioned, but also for other clients and other operators within the sector within Australia.
And what excited you about that project? What did you enjoy?
So personally for me, being Australian, it was really nice to be able to do something that was helping Australian communities and making sure that Australia maintained an essential level of air service. But I think also there's a really interesting financial and structural problem there around how you sustainably finance the industry in Australia. drawing comparisons and benchmarks from other operators and other countries and jurisdictions and applying that locally and understanding whether it was applicable, but also working with you and your expertise.
Well, it was the classic thing that you outlined. We were able to bring an approach that allowed our client to get the deep technology, aviation expertise that they needed, whilst also understanding the things that drive good and bad investments in companies, and trying to work out the best way to balance service, which is the main requirement for this company that they needed to fix and return to good stead in, but also thinking about the best way that we can advise our client on being able to get the best return on investment for them, and really working together with the client team, with the investor, with the various other stakeholders that are involved in this industry to try and find the best solution for everyone was the main goal, and that was the thing that we were able to do.
What are some of the other big challenges that our clients are dealing with that you like to help them with day to day?
I think it's a really interesting space that we operate in. You know, strategy, advisory, deals, and everything that goes on there. But when we look at it from across a number of different markets, what does an investor or what does a company want to see when they make an investment? The main thing that they want to see is return on the capital that they're investing. And this is a thing that has been around for a number of years, but is particularly at the moment becoming more challenging in a way to get the surety that you need in terms of the investments that you make. 10 years ago, particularly in the energy space, we'd have said if you wanted to get a good return on your investment, all you needed was evidence that someone has done it before, a good sort of regulation backbone and surety in what you're investing in will exist in the next 10 to 15 years, but then also a nice big long contract that you'd be able to draw down against and do the things that you want to do on. Now in the energy landscape that we exist in, that isn't possible. We are operating in a world where technologies are changing every single day, whether that be new types of renewable energies coming online, new types of technologies that are allowing us to use energy more efficiently. Clients and companies don't have the surety that their investment and their technology will be around for a long point of time. So really juggling and balancing and understanding how the overall ecosystem is being able to support that type of asset is really, really important. But then secondly, value just isn't from an investment anymore. Value is from how do you optimize, how do you support, how do you make better the service that you're providing as well. And everything that's coming in terms of technology efficiency of running these things, but also digital data, AI to be able to optimize, provide better services and deliver a better product. They're the ways that people are going to start to be able to create better returns on their investment in the next 10 years.
In some ways, it's really similar to the work that we've been doing in aviation over the last 18 months, looking at sustainable aviation fuels. And we do this work for investors, we do it for airports, and increasingly airlines as well. And really, we're helping airports who are in a challenging position and their investors to be able to understand how that airport should play in the sustainable aviation fuel space. And that's because an airport enables the airline operation, they own the infrastructure, and they make everything happen day to day, but they don't own the fuel infrastructure and they don't pump oil out of the ground, or they don't own the assets to create feedstocks that then create sustainable aviation fuel to decarbonize. So it's really helping them to understand how they should be playing in this space, helping the world decarbonize and what speed they should be taking to market and how they best help their aviation precinct to be able to decarbonize and drive a better sustainable and social return for the planet. And the ways that we do that, we look at how they should be acting to aggregate demand, so bring different groups of clients together, whether that is me as the flyer at the end, whether that's the airline buying fuel for their operation, or forecasting how much fuel is actually required to be uplifted and what percentage of fuel people would be willing to pay or shift to be sustainable fuel versus traditional aviation jet fuel. I really enjoyed chatting today with you, Murray. Thanks for making time. I really enjoy working with you on a day-to-day basis, and it's actually really cool that increasingly the work that I do in transport and aviation and the work that you do in energy and investment is colliding and coming together and actually shaping a different world for our clients. And how they consider the marketplace, how they consider their challenges, and how they position for long-term sustainable growth.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
No, it's been a pleasure to work with you too.